My mom begged me to come home for the holidays.
I'm Helen Cenil. I'm 28.
And like a fool, I actually believed her when she said she missed me. She called me on a Tuesday night, voice breaking, saying how empty the house feels without you and how this Christmas just won't be the same. She even cried a little, said the words I'd been waiting years to hear. We need you here, sweetheart. The family isn't complete without you. I rearranged my entire work schedule, paid a fortune for a last-minute flight, bought gifts for my nieces and nephew, and showed up 3 days later at her front door with my heart wide open and a carry-on full of wrapped presents. I was tired from the early flight, running on airport coffee, but smiling. Actually smiling. Thinking maybe this time would be different. Maybe they finally wanted me there just to be with me. The door swung open.
No hug.
No, we're so glad you're here. Just my mom glancing at her watch and saying, like she was reading off a grocery list, "Oh, perfect, you made it." The kids are in the living room. We're leaving in an hour. There's a schedule on the fridge and pizza money in the jar. My brother appeared behind her, rolling a suitcase, car keys jangling in his hand. He grinned and called back to the kids. "Guys, Aunt Helen's here. You're gonna have so much fun this week while we're gone." My sister breezed past, didn't even make eye contact, tossed a "thanks for doing this" over her shoulder like I'd volunteered. They all kept moving, kept packing, kept talking about their resort and their dinner reservations and their spa appointments. Like it was obvious. Like this was the plan all along. I stood there, suitcase still in hand, realizing I hadn't been invited home for Christmas. I'd been summoned to work it. And that's when something inside me finally broke free. But before I tell you how I finally stood up to them, if you're enjoying this story of standing your ground, hit that subscribe button. Because what happens next? They never saw it coming. The call came at 9:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was in my apartment, halfway through a bowl of leftover pasta, when my phone lit up with Mom's name. Helen. Her voice cracked before I could even say hello. "Sweetheart, I'm sorry to bother you. I know you're busy." I set down my fork.
Mom?
"What's wrong? Are you okay?"
I'm fine.
She paused, and I heard her take a shaky breath. I was looking at the calendar today, and I realized Christmas is in 2 weeks, and I miss you so much, honey. The house feels so empty without you. My chest tightened. Mom wasn't usually like this. Emotional, yes, but not vulnerable. Not raw like this. "I miss you too, Mom. Do you think—" Another pause. "Do you think you could come home this year? I know it's last minute, and I know you probably have plans, but it would mean the world to me. To all of us. Christmas just isn't the same without you here." I thought about my quiet apartment. The small tree I'd bought but hadn't decorated yet. The frozen dinners I'd already bought for the holiday week because I'd assumed I'd be spending it alone again. "I don't know, Mom. Flights are going to be crazy expensive this close to." I know. And I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important. Her voice dropped to almost a whisper. "But you're my daughter, Helen. And I need you here. We all do. The kids keep asking about you. Your brother was just saying the other day how much he misses having you around. Please, just think about it." Something warm spread through my chest. When was the last time she'd said she needed me? Not needed me to send money, or needed me to pick something up, or watch someone's kids for an afternoon, but actually needed me there, needed my presence? "Okay," I heard myself say. "Okay, I'll look at flights." Really? The joy in her voice was immediate. Almost childlike. "Oh, Helen, that's wonderful. The kids are going to be so excited. We're going to have the best Christmas. Just like old times." Just like old times. I smiled despite myself, already opening my laptop to search for flights. "I'll text you my arrival time as soon as I book something." "Perfect. I can't wait to see you, sweetheart. I love you so much." "Love you too, Mom." After we hung up, I sat there for a moment, that warm feeling still glowing in my chest. Then I opened the airline website and watched an $847 flight appear on my screen. I hesitated for only a second before entering my credit card information. Maybe this year really would be different. Maybe they actually wanted me home. I should have known better. Sitting on that plane, watching the clouds drift past my window, I had 3 hours to think about every other time I dropped everything because my family needed me. Like the time Mom called in tears because she'd locked herself out of the house. Could I please drive over with my spare key? I left work early, sat in traffic for an hour, only to arrive and find her neighbor had already let her in through the back door. She'd forgotten to call me back. "Oh, you're here anyway," she'd said with a shrug. "Want to help me reorganize the garage while you're at it?" Or when my brother Jason needed someone to watch his kids for just a couple hours so he and his wife could go to a doctor's appointment. I canceled my dinner plans, showed up ready to play with my nieces and nephew, and he didn't come back for 7 hours. Turns out the doctor's appointment was dinner and a movie. When I called him out on it, he'd laughed. "Come on, Hel. It's not like you had anything important going on. You don't have kids. You've got all the free time in the world. All the free time in the world. Like my job didn't matter. Like my plans didn't count. Like my life was just empty space waiting to be filled with their emergencies." There was the time my sister Rachel desperately needed me to pick up her kids from school because she was stuck in a meeting. I rearranged a conference call, drove 40 minutes, and found out later she'd been getting her nails done. "It was a quick thing," she'd said when I confronted her. "And you were already off work anyway, right?" I wasn't off work. I'd told my boss I had a family emergency, and the favors only went one direction. When I needed help moving into my new apartment, everyone was suddenly busy. When I was sick with the flu and asked if someone could drop off some groceries, Mom said she couldn't possibly come all that way when I lived so far. I lived 20 minutes from her, but I was expected to be available. Always. For every last-minute crisis, every forgotten pickup, every emergency that turned out to be nothing. Because I didn't have kids. Because I was single. Because apparently my time, my schedule, my life was less valuable than theirs. I told myself this time would be different because Mom had sounded so genuine on the phone. So sincere. So much like she actually missed me and not just what I could do for her. The seatbelt sign dinged off, and I looked down at my phone at the text I'd sent Mom with my arrival time. She'd responded with a thumbs-up emoji. Not "can't wait to see you." Not "safe travels." Just a thumbs up. I stared at it for a long moment, that warm feeling from the phone call growing colder. But I was already on the plane. Already committed. Already hoping. The Uber dropped me off at 2:30 in the afternoon. I stood on the familiar driveway, suitcase at my feet, staring at the house I'd grown up in. The Christmas wreath on the door was the same one from 5 years ago, slightly faded, the red bow drooping to one side. I rang the doorbell, straightening my rumpled shirt, running a hand through my travel-tangled hair. My back ached from the cramped middle seat. My eyes burned from the recycled airplane air. But I was smiling anyway, gifts in hand, ready for hugs and hot coffee and maybe, finally, feeling like I belonged here. The door swung open. Mom stood there in yoga pants and a pullover, car keys already in her hand. Her eyes flicked from my face to my suitcase to her watch in one smooth motion. "Oh, perfect, you made it right on time." She stepped aside, not for a hug, but to let me drag my luggage in. "The kids are in the living room watching a movie. There's a schedule on the fridge. They eat at 6. Bedtime is 8:30, 9 on weekends. Pizza money is in the jar by the microwave, and there's mac and cheese in the pantry if they get picky." I stood there, suitcase handle still in my grip, my brain trying to catch up to what she was saying. Schedule? What? "Jason," Mom called over her shoulder. "She's here. We need to leave in 20 minutes if we're going to beat traffic." My brother appeared from the hallway, rolling a large suitcase behind him, sunglasses perched on his head, resort wear visible under his unzipped jacket. He grinned when he saw me.
Hey, Hel.
Thanks for doing this. You're a lifesaver. Doing what? The words came out slowly, like my mouth was moving through mud. Rachel emerged from the kitchen, her own bag slung over her shoulder, checking something on her phone. Did you show her where the emergency contacts are? Oh, and Helen, Max has a dairy thing now, so don't give him regular milk. There's oat milk in the fridge.
Kids.
Jason called toward the living room. Come say hi to Aunt Helen. She's going to hang out with you while we're gone. 3 small bodies came running. My nephew Max, nieces Emma and Sophie, all talking at once, grabbing at my hands, excited about the movie they were watching. Guys, be good for Aunt Helen, Rachel said, already heading for the door. She's going to have so much fun with you this week. This week. The words hit me like cold water. Mom was checking her purse, patting pockets, doing that pre-trip inventory she always did. Behind her, I could see through the window to the driveway where Jason's SUV sat packed to the roof, ski equipment strapped to the rack. Wait. My voice sounded distant, strange. Where are you going? Mom glanced up, surprised I was asking. Didn't I mention? We booked a cabin in Tahoe. Jason found an amazing deal. We leave today, back on the 27th. The 27th. That was 8 days away.
8 days.
I stood frozen in the entryway while they moved around me like I was furniture. Mom grabbed her coat from the closet. Jason loaded one more bag into the car. Rachel crouched down to kiss the kids goodbye, reminding them to listen to Aunt Helen. 8 days. They were leaving for 8 days. The kids tugged at my sleeves, asking if we could make cookies, if I'd play their new video game, if I'd take them to the park. I heard myself making non-committal sounds, my eyes tracking Mom as she checked her phone, completely unbothered. We need you here, she'd said on the phone. Voice breaking. Almost crying. Christmas isn't the same without you. My throat felt tight. My hands were shaking, but I kept them still at my sides. This was planned. All of it. The timing of her call, exactly 2 weeks before their trip. The tears in her voice, calibrated perfectly to hit that soft spot in my chest. The way she'd said, the kids keep asking about you, when what she really meant was, I need free childcare. I wasn't invited to their family vacation. I was the reason they could go on one. Mom. My voice came out flat. When did you book this trip? She glanced up from her phone, distracted. Oh, about a month ago. Jason found a great deal on the cabin. A month ago. A full month before she'd called me crying about how much she missed me. And when did you decide I'd watch the kids? Something in my tone must have registered because she finally looked at me, really looked at me. Her expression shifted into that familiar patient but exasperated face she'd perfected over the years. Well, we figured you'd want to spend time with them. You're always saying you don't see them enough. The casual deflection. The way she made it sound like this was my idea. Like I should be grateful. I thought about the $847 flight. The work I'd rescheduled. The plans I'd canceled. The hope I'd carried onto that plane like a fragile, stupid thing. You told me you needed me here for Christmas, I said quietly. You said the family needs me. And we do. The kids need you. This works out perfectly.
Perfectly. For them.
Jason appeared in the doorway, jangling his keys. We really need to hit the road, Mom. Traffic's going to be brutal. Right. Mom grabbed her purse, already moving toward the door. Then she paused, turned back, and for half a second I thought maybe she'd realized. Maybe she'd see what she'd done. Maybe. There's lasagna in the freezer if you don't want to cook every night. Oh, and Helen. She smiled, warm and genuine, the same smile from when I was a kid, and she was actually happy to see me. Thank you so much for doing this. You're the best. I don't know what we'd do without you. Without me. Not with me. Without me to use. The door closed behind them, and I stood there in the silence, 3 children looking up at me expectantly, cartoon voices chirping from the TV, a printed schedule mocking me from the refrigerator. And I finally understood. I was never their daughter, their sister. I was their convenience. I walked to the window and watched them load the last bags into the SUV. Mom was laughing at something Jason said. Rachel was taking a selfie with her sunglasses on. Happy. Excited.
Free.
Because I was here. My phone was in my hand before I'd consciously decided to pick it up. I pulled up Mom's number and hit call. Through the window, I saw her pull her phone from her purse, glance at the screen, and answer. Helen? What's wrong? We're literally about to leave. I know, I said. That's why I'm calling. I'm not doing this. Silence. Then, what? I'm not babysitting. I didn't come home to be your free childcare for a week. I came because you said you missed me. You said you needed me here for Christmas. I watched her straighten up outside, her body language shifting. She pressed the phone closer to her ear, turning slightly away from Jason and Rachel. Helen, we talked about this.
No, we didn't.
You manipulated me into flying across the country and then ambushed me with your kids and a printed schedule. I don't understand why you're being so difficult right now. Her voice had that edge to it now, the one that meant I was being unreasonable. The kids are excited to spend time with you. I thought you'd be happy. Mom, I paid $847 for a last-minute flight because you cried on the phone about missing me. And you booked your vacation a month ago. Another pause. Longer this time. Well, she said finally, we didn't want to bother you with the details. We knew you'd make it work. Make it work. Like my job, my life, my time was infinitely flexible. Infinitely available. I'm not doing it, I repeated. You need to come back inside and figure out your childcare situation because it's not going to be me. Helen Marie McNeil. Her voice dropped into that maternal authority tone that used to make me shrink when I was 12. After everything we've done for you over the years, you can't do this one thing for your family? Family helps family. Something hot and sharp twisted in my chest. Everything you've done for me? Like what, exactly? Because I can make you a list of everything I've done for you. Want to hear it? Don't you dare take that tone with me. I'm not babysitting, I said again, my voice steady despite the rage shaking through me. You have 20 minutes to come back and get your kids or cancel your trip. Your choice. You're being selfish and childish. And you're being manipulative. 20 minutes, Mom. Through the window, I saw her pull the phone away from her ear, staring at it like it had betrayed her. Then she turned toward the house, her face a mask of disbelief. The door burst open. What is wrong with you? Mom demanded, stepping inside. Jason and Rachel followed, confusion written across their faces. I looked at all three of them standing there, united in their shock that I'd finally said no. Absolutely nothing, I said. For the first time in years, nothing is wrong with me at all. They stood there in a semicircle, staring at me like I'd grown a second head. The kids had gone quiet in the living room, sensing the tension. Helen, you're being ridiculous, Rachel said, arms crossed. We've been planning this trip for weeks. You can't just... I can't just what? Refuse to be ambushed? Refuse to have my time stolen? Stolen. Jason laughed, but it sounded forced. Jesus, Hel, we're family. We're asking you to watch the kids for a few days.
You didn't ask.
You assumed. There's a difference. Mom stepped forward, her expression shifting from anger to that wounded look she did so well. I don't understand where this is coming from. You've always been so good about helping out. Because you've always made me feel like I had to be. The words came out sharper than I intended, but I didn't take them back. Do you know how many times I've dropped everything for you? For all of you? That's what family does, Mom said softly. Really? Because when I needed help moving, everyone was too busy. When I was sick with the flu and asked for someone to bring groceries, you said you couldn't drive 20 minutes. But I'm supposed to fly across the country on 2 weeks' notice to provide free childcare for a week. That's not fair, Rachel interjected. We were busy those times. And I'm not busy? My job doesn't matter? My life doesn't matter?
I looked at each of them.
When is the last time any of you asked what I had going on before demanding I rearrange my schedule? We don't demand, Jason said, but his voice was defensive now. You called me in tears, Mom. You said you needed me home for Christmas. You made me believe you actually missed me, that you wanted me here. My voice cracked despite my best efforts. And it was all a lie to get free babysitting. I do miss you.
No.
You miss having someone you can use. The truth of it settled over the room like ice. I'm not your daughter when it's convenient. I'm not your sister when you need something. I'm a person with a life that matters just as much as yours. Mom's face flushed. How dare you, after we raised you, put a roof over your head? I'm 38 years old. You don't get to hold my childhood over my head forever as payment for basic parenting. The silence that followed was deafening. Rachel looked at Jason. Jason looked at Mom. Mom looked at me like she was seeing a stranger. So what? Jason finally said. You're just going to let us down? No, I said quietly. You let me down. You've been letting me down for years. I just finally noticed. Mom's hands were shaking. If you don't do this, Helen.
What?
You'll stop talking to me? Stop pretending you care until you need something else. Her mouth opened.
Closed.
No words came. That's what I thought, I said. How many of you have been right here? Finally saying what needs to be said but terrified of what comes next. Drop a comment below and subscribe if you're ready to stop being everyone's backup plan. Because what happened next taught me something I'll never forget. Jason pulled out his phone first, frantically scrolling. There has to be someone. What about the neighbors? The Hendersons watched them before. They're in Phoenix visiting their daughter, Rachel said, her voice tight. I already checked before we... She stopped herself, but not quickly enough. Before you what? I asked. Before you decided to trick me into coming? She didn't answer, just grabbed her own phone and started texting. Mom sank onto the couch, her face pale. This can't be happening. We have reservations. The cabin's already paid for. It's non-refundable. You should have thought about that before you lied to me. We didn't lie, she said weakly.
You manipulated me.
That's worse. Jason was pacing now, phone pressed to his ear. Hey, Denise? Yeah, I know it's last minute, but any chance you could watch the kids for the week? We'd pay you, obviously. A pause. His face fell.
Right. Yeah.
No, I understand.
Okay.
Thanks anyway. He hung up and immediately dialed another number. Rachel was texting furiously, her jaw clenched. None of my mom friends can do it. They all have their own holiday plans. What about that babysitter you used in September? Mom asked, grasping. She's in college. She went home for winter break. I stood there watching them spiral, and I felt something I hadn't expected. Nothing.
No guilt.
No urge to fix it. No instinct to say, okay, fine, I'll do it, just stop panicking. Just a calm, clear certainty that this was their problem, not mine. Helen. Mom's voice was quieter now, pleading.
Please.
Just this once. I'm begging you. You've said, just this once for the last 10 years. We'll pay you, Jason offered, desperation creeping into his voice. What do you charge? $200 a day? 3. I don't want your money. I want you to respect my time enough to actually ask before you make plans that require me. We're asking now, Rachel snapped. No, you're begging now because you're out of options. That's different. Mom stood up, her hands clasped together like she was praying. Helen, sweetheart, please. We've been looking forward to this for so long. The kids need this trip. Jason needs a break from work. We all need. What about what I need? The question hung in the air. Did any of you stop to think about what I might need? What I might have given up to be here?
Silence.
Jason tried one more number. It went to voicemail. Rachel's texting had slowed. She was running out of contacts. Mom looked at the clock on the wall, then at her family, then at the packed car outside. Her mouth trembled. "I guess we're canceling," she whispered. "I guess you are," I said.
And I meant it.
The old Helen would have caved by now, would have seen their disappointment and crumbled, would have said yes just to make the panic stop. But that Helen had died somewhere between the airport and this doorstep. This Helen was done saving people who'd never once tried to save her. Jason slammed his phone down on the coffee table. "This is unbelievable. Do you have any idea how much we're going to lose on this?" "That's your problem," I said evenly. "You made plans that depended on my labor without asking me. That was a choice. A bad one." Mom was crying now, real tears this time, not the performance from our phone call. "I can't believe you're doing this to us." "I'm not doing anything to you.
I'm just not doing something for you."
There's a difference. Rachel shot me a look of pure venom. "You know what?
Fine.
Don't help. We'll figure it out ourselves. We always do."
No, y correcta.
"I always figured it out for you. You're about to find out what doing it yourselves actually feels like." I walked to the entryway and picked up my suitcase. The weight of it felt different now. Lighter somehow. "What are you doing?" Mom asked, panic spiking in her voice. "I'm leaving. I'm going to a hotel, and tomorrow I'm flying back home." "You just got here, and you just made it very clear why that was a mistake." I pulled out my phone and opened a rideshare app. 3 minutes away. "Helen, wait." Mom stood up, wiping her eyes.
Please.
Can we talk about this?"
We are talking about it.
"You're just not liking what I'm saying. If you leave like this, things are going to change between us." I looked at her, really looked at her. At the woman who'd raised me, who'd taught me to ride a bike and helped me with homework and tucked me in at night. The woman who'd also spent the last decade treating me like an emotional support ATM with babysitting privileges. "Things already changed, Mom. The moment you lied to get me here. I'm just the only one honest enough to admit it." The kids had crept to the doorway of the living room, watching with wide eyes. Max was holding his sister's hand. Emma looked like she might cry. For a second, just a second, I felt it. The guilt. The pull to stay, to make it okay, to be the person who fixed everything. Then I remembered my mom's thumbs up emoji. Her casual, "Oh good, you're here," like I was DoorDash delivery. The printed schedule on the fridge. My phone buzzed. "Driver arriving in 1 minute. I love you," I said quietly. "All of you. But I don't like who I become when I'm around you. And I'm done pretending that's okay." I opened the door. "Helen," Mom called out. I turned back. "You're really going to do this? You're really going to choose yourself over your family?" I thought about that for a moment. About all the times I'd chosen them over me. Every canceled plan. Every rearranged schedule. Every ignored boundary. "Yes," I said. For the first time in my life, yes. The Uber pulled up. I walked out without looking back, pulling my suitcase behind me, leaving them standing in the doorway with their packed car and their canceled vacation and their consequences. And I felt free. I spent Christmas alone in my apartment. I ordered Thai food, watched terrible movies, and didn't check my phone until the evening. 43 messages. Most were from Mom. A progression from angry, "I can't believe you abandoned your family," to manipulative, "The kids cried all Christmas morning asking where you were," to desperate, "Please just call me so we know you're okay." Nothing from Jason. One text from Rachel. "Hope you're happy." I deleted them all and went back to my movie. The weeks that followed were strange. Quiet in a way my life had never been before. No emergency calls. No last-minute favors. No guilt trips disguised as family bonding. Just peace. I changed my flight settings to Do Not Disturb for Mom's number. Not blocked. I wasn't ready for that, but filtered. She could reach me, but only if I chose to check. In January, I got a voicemail. Mom's voice was different this time. Tired. Smaller. Helen, it's me. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but
I've been thinking about what you said.
about how we treat you, and I talked to my therapist about it. A long pause. She said some things I didn't want to hear. I'm working on it. I understand if you need more time, but I wanted you to know that I'm trying. I love you. I saved it, but didn't call back. Not yet. In February, Jason sent a friend request on social media after years of us barely acknowledging each other online. I let it sit for a week before accepting. Rachel never reached out. I wasn't surprised. March brought a text from Mom. I know I don't deserve to ask, but would you be willing to have coffee next time you're in town? Just us.
No fathers. No agenda.
I just want to see you. I stared at it for 3 days before responding. Maybe. I'll let you know. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But it was a crack in the door. What surprised me most was how little I missed them. I'd spent so many years believing I needed their approval, their acceptance, their love. But what I'd actually needed was my own. I started saying no to things at work when I didn't have the bandwidth. I stopped over-explaining my boundaries. I took a weekend trip to the coast just because I wanted to, without asking anyone's permission or considering anyone else's schedule. And I realized something. I'd spent my whole life trying to earn a place in my family by being useful. I'd never considered that I deserved a place just by being me. If you've made it this far, you get it. You understand what it means to finally choose yourself. Subscribe and become part of a community that believes your worth isn't measured by what you do for others. Drop a comment telling me, when did you finally say no? My apartment didn't feel empty anymore. It felt like mine. My time didn't feel selfish when I kept it for myself. It felt valuable. And when my phone rang at 11 p.m. on a random Tuesday, Mom's name flashing on the screen, I looked at it for a long moment. Then I silenced it and went back to my book. I'd call her back tomorrow. Or maybe I wouldn't. Either way, it would be my choice. And that made all the difference.